one of the women got public execution because she killed a person. Because she lent money and then she didn't have payback money.
Okay.
She didn't have. Her family have to watch in front of it.
Right.
But her daughter was only 4 years old.
Oh my God.
And then her husband was in front of it, but the 4-year-old girl was like crying so much and then screaming, but her dad was cover her mouth and then just crying. That's all. But I was a kid too, so I was short. So all the kids have to watch in front of it.
Right. The shortest goes first.
Yes.
Yeah. You see by the height, and
Yes.
the elders go in
That's
the back.
right. But I was carrying my cousin. Yes, he was only 2 years old, and then the cousin younger sister was behind me, and then she was 7 years old. Yeah. So
Do you think those 2 years old knew what was going on?
I just covered his ear.
It's too loud.
Yes.
Yeah.
3 soldiers were standing there and then shooting, and then just one time shooting, and then her neck goes down,
Right, and the chest down,
and then yes,
Yeah.
and then just it was making circle,
Little roar.
and, roared, and then just pulling down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but another public execution, it was a man. It was he was 24 years old, I think. But he sold the CD. It's South Korean movie drama. So that's why he got public execution.
Right.
Yeah, and then they say that if you do like him, if watching or selling those things, you will same thing. You will have public execution.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah.
Wow. What a horrible system that is.
That's
is
right.
that like to a young child? I still remember going through the same thing. Like you need to criticize your fellow classmates, and it forces you to become almost like enemies to each other.
That's right. So that's why it's just nobody can trust.
Right.
Just monitoring just each other, just looking what they are doing something wrong maybe, and then they're just catching and then just.
Because you have to criticize somebody every single week.
That's right.
Every week you need to come up with somebody to criticize.
So that was the worst ever.
So when you were born, like what did you think about the country?
Okay. When I was babies, we couldn't think about even like what kind of country is North Korea. But all I thought is I think the government is brainwashed us. It's our country is the best. So I thought the country is best.
So you thought you were living in the best country on earth?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but
were you happy?
So I can say that I was happy when I was living in a barn with my mom.
Right.
But it was really poor. But I can have love relationship. Yeah, it's a relationship with my mom. Yeah, but after preschool, and we moved another area to live. But it was started like in trouble because my mom have to make money, so I have to wait for my mom to come back. So I think it started. I was looking for my mom all the time. So from that moment, like, oh, why I born this world, and then why I'm living like this? So I was really, really like, I really miss mom, and I really miss like some families are living so they can have meals.
Right.
Yes, but we couldn't have enough meals, and then we couldn't have any like even house.
Wow. So I think it's like your book is like a North Korean daughter search for her mother and herself, right? like I read this book, of course I heard about how what it came for you to be even separate from your own mother at a young age, and you talk about like how you're so happy living in this barn, not even a house, where actually supposedly animals to live.
That's right.
And even that situation you're grateful and happy because you had mother with you.
There's enough food, but there's a mom with me,
so this is like where I really want to talk about, like, you know, you and I were born, you know, not particularly maybe the bottom class or not the particular elite class. And North Korea was supposedly the socialist paradise. The government needs to provide you free housing, free food, and free healthcare of everything. So was that barn provided by the regime, or how did you end up living in a barn?
Okay, so when my father and my mom got divorced, we cannot just move to another area because I think the government doesn't allow.
They restrict the freedom of movement.
So we have to wait like a few years to. So that's why. But right at that moment, my mom didn't have a house. So she was asked the team leader when she were working area. So she was asked, I can't move right now another area, but I have to still. She have to still work there. So then, where she can live. So I think just a few days we lived in hut. And then because the barn was looks like a just animal house. So we have to clean up. So it took I think a few days. So after that, that's why we started living there.
So the another thing that really struck me about reading this book was that I was also hungry too. Like I think as a North Koreans, we are a lot shorter than South Koreans because we were malnourished very early on. But I was never actually went that far becoming what we call 꽶제비. It's homeless. I think like homeless child. Like in North Korea, there are like I think hundreds of thousands of children on the road, on the train station, trying to find any scramble of bread, right? And I think you live that life. When did you become a homeless child on the street? How old were you?
It was probably 8 years old, international age.
Wow, so you're 8 years old. And this is the thing, like, we are now living this comfort life. And when I look back how I lived in North Korea, a lot of times I don't know how I actually survived. If I actually go back as an adult, I don't think I could even last for 1 week.
That's right.
Right? But when you're a child, like 8 years old, you don't have your parents, you're on the streets and trying to find food. Like, how did you survive?
I mean, I didn't know like how can I get food from others. Just I was look at the other homeless, and then they're trying to make dirty their face, and then it looks more poor. But I couldn't do that kind of things because I didn't like these things like get dirty my face, and also my mom, she didn't want it. So I was standing just when the train stops because of the electricity. So when people just eating their lunch or and then just I couldn't say anything, just and then stand there and then just behind them and then looking at them, and then just and then just they ask, are you want some food? And then I said just shake my head.
You just nod.
And they just give me, and then I just run to my mom and then share with my mom.
Wow. So this is another thing, like a lot of people like really don't understand. When we talk about train stations, why would homeless always go in train stations? This is where people move around, and there's often electricity outage, right? So trains stop out of nowhere in the middle, and people stand there, have to wait for sometimes even days to wait for the electricity to come back. and that's when people have to like start eating, and the vendors go there to sell their food, and I think that's where you were surviving your life with.
Yes.
Yeah, so with all this like horrible situation, you're continuing to live in like life in North Korea. And what I think was also shocking to me is when your mother initially escaped to North Korea first, right, to
Yeah,
find
that's
some
right.
food
And she wanna make money.
yeah, and promised to come back to you.
Yes, but she didn't tell me that where she will go.
Right. I think this is like what it's like when I escaped, I also couldn't tell my father that I was going to China because I got caught,
Yes.
and then they're gonna torture me, right?
Yeah,
and then if I tell them I told my father, then if he didn't go report on us, he would get punished too.
That's right.
So a lot of North Koreans cannot talk to their family
Yes.
members because of this punishment. So how long were you waiting for your mother, just not knowing where she went?
I think 2 years.
Wow.
Because she said that she's gonna come back just 1 month later. That it's October 10th. So I was waiting for. She said that you have to remember this notification because I didn't go to school. So I didn't know that how to do it. So she write down the paper and then she said that I'm gonna come back 1 month later. So you have to memorize it, and then when I come back, I will be testing you. So I was really work hard, but she didn't come back after one month. But it's the 1 year after 1 year, and then 2 years. I didn't know where she was, but she sent it to us the letter. But it was from China.
Oh, so she escaped to China and then
Yes.
she reached out back to you through the broker. Oh.
Yes, so the letter from China. So we are surprised because it's nobody's in China, and so we thought maybe our family members, maybe we don't know, maybe they found us, but it was my mom. But from that moment, I got monitored
From the authorities,
from neighborhoods. Yes, so that's why we know that my aunt and I know that my mom is in the China, and yes, she said that she gonna come back when she have enough money.
Oh.